is happening is, like she said, we are our own works. We've taken over the job that they used to have for us, right? We started to bring each other down. You understand what I'm saying? And that's where and we have two different roles in society. We should not even be in competition with each other. We should complement each other, because at the end of the day, we're behind, both of us, really.
I
And we
agree. We're behind. I agree.
make sure that we get up there, right? And they just sitting here watching us do all the dirty work. And for what? You know what I'm saying? The great thing, and I said this before, the great thing about Black people, we were born naturally strong. You know what I'm saying? It's a natural gift. We're naturally talented people. We just got to get this to agree with the rest of it, and we're gonna be the bomb. And they don't want that, because that right there is unstoppable. You understand? But we too busy doing this with each other, and we're not even progressing. It's just keeping us stagnant. We got to progress. And this old back and forth, it's not getting us anywhere. It's ridiculous.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But if we're going to have what I said earlier about a Black man will have no problem taking a cooperative average Black woman and marry, that average Black woman does not want to marry that and give the cooperation that man wants to that average man.
Let me add to that, Caesar. The problem with that is what we're really having, because like I said before, Black men and marriage has been a struggle for generations, eons ago. What I'm trying to say is today, the economy, with the economy that we have, the average Black man can't have the type of marriage he wants with that average Black woman. He can't afford it. He doesn't make enough. That's the issue.
Why not?
Because if you look at the stats, like I said, I'm not trying to turn this into like, competitive or anything like that, but like I said, Black men, they on average, even in their 50s, they only, I don't think any of the averages, they average $50,000. I think they average like 47, 41, something like that. So it's in this day and time, what we're really dealing with, to bring it to a different conversation, Caesar, is we are in a time where this economy requires a 2-parent working household. And the men of all races hitting hardest with the Black men, because we've been really raised to be very hyper masculine. They want a certain type of role in a family, and they can't afford that role anymore in most cases. So they need to. Men are in a era right now where they're struggling with their identity of having to let go of being the sole provider, let go of being the head honcho, and they're struggling to do that. So if Black men, like I said before, if Black men want to get married, listen, we have the most race loyal women. The opportunities are there. They just don't. They don't value marriage. That's one. And two, they are not going to be able to get the woman that they want because they can't afford her today.
Why is it that Spanish that make less money on average, why can they get married?
Because they're more marriage minded than Black men.
It has everything to do with culture. I think there has been a cultural shift in the Black community around marriage in general. So, and the idea too is behind the why buy the cow when you're getting the milk for free kind of mindset. So women, there are women that would rather be in relationship than not have one at all. So if marriage isn't going to come along with it, like you said, men are married 36% at 36%, which means that majority of men aren't getting married, right? If only 36% are getting married, that means so the likelihood of them getting married is not there. So for them, it's like, I'd rather be in a relationship with a man without the marriage than not being in a relationship at all. So if you look at the stats, most Black people cohabitate. They don't get married. So they will have these long-term relationships for like 15 years as cohabitating pairs. They will raise their kids together as if they're married, but they won't officially take that step to get the paperwork done. So I think our cultural beliefs and dynamics around marriage have shifted a great deal. So you can have, like a lot of people say, oh, that like them Hispanic women, they respect their men and they marry, their men don't have nothing. It's because their culture is very different than our culture around marriage. A lot of their cultures see the last step to manhood is marriage and family. We operate in the opposite. We'll have kids before the husband. We'll have
I'm gonna
kids
ask.
without a husband, without a father. You know what I'm saying? So that is the problem. It's the mind shift that we have to have around marriage. And until that change, like we hear it now every day, it's not worth it being married. You know, we hear that in the Black community, in these spaces often. Marriage don't benefit men when all the stats says otherwise. We talk against the stats. The stats support better families when you're married, higher incomes when you're married, better health rates for men when they're married. All of those things benefit Black men. And I'm just saying Black men, it benefits men in general, but I'm speaking specifically to Black men because that's what we're talking about.
Well,
So everything in terms of beneficial for Black men, it shows that marriage will help your life in across the board, but yet we refuse to get married. And that's why I'm saying it has to be a mental, cultural shift around marriage in order to get us back on track. And until that happens, we're going to continue to be at the bottom. Or the other option is everybody deciding to marry out. And we're starting to see the increase of Black women, even though we're talking about race loyal, we're still more race loyal to Black men, which I think is across the board for all race and ethnicities. They typically choose their own race and, you know, ethnicity when you look at the stats, but it's starting to be an increase among Black women that they are now starting to date out. And I think that has a lot.
I want to correct your stat.
That has a lot to do. You can correct it. Give me a minute. That I think that has a lot to do with desiring marriage and knowing you're in a situation that if you stick in with Black men, the likelihood of you getting married is going to be less. So you go from a bigger pool, you increase your chances of getting married if you are marriage minded. And that's sad.
I understand, but the stat you said about Black men and Black women being married with the health, that was correct in every single race except for Black men.
That's not
Black
true.
men don't live longer married. Yeah,
That's not
the stat showed it was better when you were married, except for Black men.
Can we also
okay.
add?
I'm gonna look that up now. Every
Caesar,
study that I've seen is specifically stated that men across the board tend to live
Yes, men across the board.
with
Yes.
average.
No, yes.
older
So
average.
I see that it does say no, married Black men do not live longer than unmarried Black men.
So,
well, like I said, you have to also put into context, Caesar, that Black men don't get married on in general. So we're talking about a very limited subset. And I agree with mistaken. It's like there has to be a cultural shift, and it's got to be more male driven. The reason why we have unwed births and stuff like that is it's male driven. Like men could easily just like they could easily propose to the women that they're with. So we have, like I said, I agree with what she's saying. Is we need a cultural shift. We need, I think that a lot of men have grown up without fathers in the home. That's an impact. The fact that our community doesn't really hold men accountable in terms of taking that final step, that's hurting us too. And then the men, we have to throw a third one in there. The culture of men is spreading a lot of negative propaganda. Oh, she's going to take half when only like 8% of Black divorces even end in alimony. Black men don't have the money to be getting washed in the cleaners. And they don't really understand what divorce is, how it works. They're just scared, just like all the other modern men. They're scared of things that possibly could happen to them that probably won't.